Hi everyone, this is Ryan Latta and I'm doing another resume review. This resume was sent to me by a student who is starting to look at internships, and I'm going to be giving some feedback and general reactions as though I was a hiring manager to help them make better changes to the resume to get better interviews. My specialty isn't in internships, but since hiring managers tend to be the same pretty much everywhere, my hope is that what I provide will help regardless. As always, I've taken out most identifying information to keep them anonymous. So let's get started. The overall impressions I'm looking at right out of the gate, like when I see this, what are my first reactions? Formatting wise, the format is pretty simple. There's nothing fancy going on. There's nothing distracting happening, but there is a somewhat subtle problem that I want to highlight right out of the gate, which is this resume is very dense. It looks like a wall of text has just come across my desk. And if I'm reading this as a hiring manager, I might be like, oh, this is going to take some time. And that's not ideal. So you may want to think about actually like decreasing or increasing the margins so it doesn't go all the way to the edge of this page. You want to create more white space. You also will want to thin out some of the like paragraph style wording you have here, because it looks like a lot of work for me. And even if it's really, really good, if it looks like or feels like work to me to get through it, that doesn't help your case. So if you can come up with a cleaner way, not cleaner necessarily, but less dense way of presenting your information, that'll be good. Otherwise, formatting, right out of the gate, I notice inconsistent indentation for all the bullet points. Punctuation is inconsistent as well. Period. These things may seem small, but as soon as I see them as a hiring manager, I'm going to think, this person didn't even check the resume before they sent it to me. In the trash. So you want to get all that stuff perfect. You don't want any stray punctuation, any bad formatting to be the reason why you didn't get considered. So take lots of time to get that stuff perfect. Education first section, generally education should be dead last. And that's because education is one of the least deciding factors on whether or not you're a candidate for a job. The first deciding factor is, can you do the job? And unfortunately, education doesn't answer that question. It just says, what did you learn? So you have experience and you have all that stuff already. So you want that to be first. You want to emphasize your skills, your knowledge and capability, not where you went to school. So I would drop education down towards the bottom, maybe right below academic achievements. And you can summarize this even further. Like your coursework, you could move into your skills section, right? These are all knowledges that you bring to the table. You know these things. They come to bear through your skills. So you can put a knowledge section and list the ones that are relevant. And then you can further summarize this to take less space. By the way, this is a one-page format and you actually have extra space. I think if you mess with the margins to try to make it less dense, you will find it will not be one page, and don't be afraid of that. The one-page resume is a myth. Your resume could easily be 2 to 3 pages. That's fine. What you want to do is have the first page be all the best parts first, so that when they get to page 2 and 3, that's like even better. So education, move it down, and you can summarize it further. You don't need to put your grades in unless you're applying to a job that specifically wants to know your grades. Drop it. No one generally cares. Skills. I think you got the right thing here. Like I said, I would further put your knowledges down. You'll find in most applications they'll say, we want someone who knows object-oriented programming. Great, put that here with the rest of it. And tailor it to the job you're applying to. You can put more than that to show you are more than just their specific requirements, but you don't need to list all the things all the time. That's overwhelming. Tailor it to the job. Employment. Now, you have written in 3 to 5 bullets, which is exactly right to me. What you've got in here content-wise, and we'll go through it, is awesome. It's good stuff. This is really hard to get right, and you've really got it. The real change that I would recommend that you make is trying to make it less dense. There's just tons of words here that I have to go through to figure things out, and you can make this way more to the point. We can avoid run-on sentences, we can avoid all that stuff. So let's go through the first bullet as an example. Pioneered several modules in microservice-based architecture for an award-winning data analytics-based application that monitors and predicts faults in a running manufacturing plant. So, for me as a hiring manager, what are the most important pieces of this? That you built an award-winning product that monitored and predicted faults in a manufacturing plant, and you leverage microservices. Those are the three choice parts. So maybe a different way to word this is, you pioneered the Innovative Product of the Year 2019 application that predicted faults in a running manufacturing plant using a microservice-based architecture. Way shorter, but it keeps all those core pieces and gets to the heart of it. Like, you just didn't sit there and write code and didn't know what you were doing. You knew that you took part in something that was big and relevant and important. Show it that way. That's an example of what you want to do with each of these bullets, because you've got all those pieces in every single one of them. So I'm not going to go through all of them, but you do want to see if you can make them more concise, be far more powerful in their brevity, and focusing on the most important parts. That when you did your job, there were really good results. In the second block of the experience, you have this employee of the quarter in every single time. You can either use that as your result in each one, at which point you may want to move it to the front or somewhere else. It'll be hard because it'll be redundant, or you want to pull those out as its own bullet and say you want employee of the quarter for three quarters in a row, and then keep going. Then list all these with your results. And I think you do have some results in most of these, but you may have to revisit it. But that would be what I do for the second one. Projects, all this is great, but honestly, when I'm reading this as a hiring manager, unless these projects speak to me and my specific challenges, your experiences already do most of the heavy lifting. So this is like secondary stuff. So focus on what unique capabilities you developed through this, not in terms of like coding work you did. Like, you've got all these technologies, which is great. They can also be up here in your skills section, but I want you to focus on what unique capabilities you developed by building these projects, what unique problems you've solved, not necessarily a summary of the purpose of the project. Because this, all you can really emphasize through your project at this point is more capabilities you bring to the table. So that's what I would kind of mess with those a little bit, and they're in the right section, right? You want them to come after employment because your employment speaks the loudest. Academic achievement and leadership roles, totally fine. You can leave certification in there if you want. They won't really matter too much. The ThingWorx IoT thing would matter if you're applying to a place that does ThingWorx IoT stuff. Otherwise, it may not matter. TA role, you could make this its own experience section if you really wanted to, but the same idea that you did in your employment section would apply here, which is you were a TA, so what? Like, what does that bring to me and my company? What did you do as a TA? What skills do you have that translate? What capabilities do you have? What results did you create as a TA that I want for my team and my company when I'm looking at your resume? So you may want to think about the project management aspects. You may want to think about, teaching junior developers. You may want to think of leadership. What did you do as your TA role that makes you even better than just a pile of skills, right? What do you bring to the table extra because you're a TA? Volunteering is great. Most companies really like to see it, so that's awesome. Interests, honestly, you can keep it, you can leave it. I don't think it will have any impact one way or another. If you feel weird putting interest down, you can drop it, won't make a difference. The nice thing about them is whether you put them there or not, they're a great thing for you to try to make small talk about. And in general, if you can make small talk about their interests, the better, but more than likely you'll have a common one, and then you can talk about it. So your hope with the interests is that they have one similar and they ask you about it, but it's a take it or leave it thing. It won't help or hurt either way. So that's my little synopsis. I hope you found something useful and helpful in here. And if you're interested in sending me your resume, just get a hold of me and I'm happy to do a review for you as well. Thanks.